Hey, welcome to our podcast for ACS, Associated Christian Schools. This is Talking Ed. My name is Dave Benson. It's my privilege to serve you as the Executive Director of Associated Christian Schools. And we have two podcasts. Keeping Faith is more on organisational leadership, how to keep faith to our mission of Christian education for the common good. Talking Ed, we get into the trenches. We talk about teaching, about pre-service teaching, and how do we better see the whole of what we do in education through that biblical worldview and through a lens of cultivating wise peacemakers, these people who are wise in head, virtuous in heart, and work for shalom. It is my delight to be here with Melita Whittle. Hopefully I got that right.
You did indeed.
I mispronounced Ross's surname earlier, which was the most embarrassing thing. I had to do a second cut because I got his surname totally wrong.
Oh my goodness. Well, imagine the little preppy rolling up to the first day of school.
No, that's wrong, isn't it?
So we've just actually shortened it to Mr. Walt.
That's so nice. I really, he should have just given that to me as well. He didn't. He expected me to grow up and get his name right.
Yes, or the cold calls that you get, Mr.
Mr. Walt. Okay, well anyway, it's great to be here with you, Melita. Would you tell us a little bit about yourself and your context here at Cooloola Christian College, CCC? Because yours is a slightly different situation.
Yes.
It is associated with one of our other partner members, being Christian Heritage College.
Yep.
Tell us about your situation here, because it sounds like you've done every job within this school except for one,
Yep.
which you're about to start at some stage soon.
Absolutely. Well, you're absolutely right. And to be perfectly truthful, I don't actually know what I'm doing. I don't quite know what
Don't be like that.
The truth is I've been here at Cooloola Christian College for 18 years now. Have sat across many different roles. Most recently I was the registrar for our school for 5 years. Also video, marketing, media, and all the rest.
You're responsible for these microphones I hear. This is your little project.
Our little project. And that was really a conversation between myself and the marketing manager. Really, our focus is connecting with parents. So for us, it's not just about how do we, educate the children within a Christ-centered biblical worldview, but it's the parents as well. We understand the importance.
Apparently they got the first responsibility for the kids. Is this true?
The Bible may say something about
the government
parents
does,
like the child first teacher and all of that. And so our vision for our school's podcast as well is to help equip parents as well, because oftentimes you have those conversations in the car park and you just think, man, if only other families or other parents could hear this, they would know that they're not actually alone in this, that we're all having the same struggles. And particularly sometimes for Christian parents as well, we think that because we've got the Bible, we've got scripture, we've got God's word that should lead and guide us. We still sometimes actually don't know what we're doing. So that was the idea for this podcast. But
you're changing role now. So you gave me this wonderful acronym, ESO, Education Support Officer.
Oh, you nailed it.
Thank you so much. Some would call it a teacher aide.
Formerly known as.
The artist formerly known as. So you've been doing that role, but you're hoping to step into teaching itself. You're waiting on what?
Permission to teach. So that is PTC. Yes, so that is something that is available to pre-service teachers which allows them to actually get into the classroom a little bit earlier. Really looking forward to seeing how that evolves. But I've actually been involved with the Embedded Practice program. So Cooloola Christian College has actually partnered with Christian Heritage College. And they have a Teach for a Purpose program. And what that does is those students that are enrolled in a Bachelor of Primary or Secondary will actually secure with partner schools placements. So they will have 1 day a week or 2 days a week where they're actually paid to be in the class. They'll have a mentor teacher that they go with and really get to learn the ropes. And
so teaching as apprenticeship?
Exactly.
Who would have thought? Some say Jesus suggested this. He might have been the first one. That Craig Murison and CHC are riffing off and plagiarise. No, you're not. But yeah, okay. So has it worked for you? I mean, are you happy with this? Do you hate it? Not that we can say that now. But
Yes.
How's it been?
It has been incredible, and I honestly could imagine going to a different university and actually, you might get a prac in that first year, and then you're not actually even stepping into the classroom.
Yeah, it's kind of theory, and then eventually you go back and get marked differently.
Which would be terrifying, because so much of what I've learned so far in my course in the academic sense, it is a bit challenging to make those connections until you actually see it in operation. And that's where the learning has really, really happened for me, and making those connections. It's actually being in the class. Someone once said to me, even the weather impacts the kids. And I was like, no.
Oh, that's it.
That's so crazy.
I was a PE teacher, and it's just like, oh, no, bad day.
A windy day, or like whatever. Yeah. And it was just, there's so many things that I have learnt just by being in the classroom, that it's been a tremendous blessing to me.
Great. And
being able to mentor with Christian educators as well is really important.
So that's a shout out for CHC as well.
Absolutely.
And if schools in our network are looking for teachers formed in place and more likely to stick around as well, in this case, Ross and his wonderful wife Sue, as head of teaching and learning, they kind of spotted that you're a perfect fit for this and encouraged you, and then you moved towards. But let's move forward at this point. Let's continue. So sometimes it's hard to see that God's at work in what we do in our everyday. But where have you seen God at work? Not going, I'm proud and here's what I've achieved, but actually you've seen God working in, through, and around you. Maybe it's in your pre-service teaching, maybe it's in what you're doing in the classrooms. I know that you're hoping to head into English teaching and also psychology. Where have you seen God at work? Just a short story of where you're excited at the moment.
David, I have a laundry list of experiences with God. So probably the most really important one for me, and if you would kindly indulge a slightly longer narrative.
I'm watching the clock, but you go for it.
I hated math.
I'm sorry to our math teachers. No, don't watch this one again, mate. Just switch off.
There's no purpose. Okay. There's no purpose. I hated math, and even in high school, it would anxiety producing. So when we had the discussions about this embedded practice program and potentially, enrolling into the Bachelor of Education, I had to kind of go around the bush a bit. But eventually knowing, for me to be able to enter into the Bachelor program, I would have to do math. Grade 12 math. Grade 12 general
Grade 12 math, that's brilliant.
Math.
Okay.
No, it's not.
What?
No. So I was so anxious to the point where I just can't actually do this. And it was in a moment of perhaps an adult tantrum where I may have thrown myself on the bed, as some people do, a third. I just can't do this. I can't do this. If you want me to do this, if this is what you have called me to do, you have to be you have to show up. You have to lead and guide, and I just have to walk behind you. And so we got into this intensive course. It was horrifying and terrible, and it was math went in my brain. And in the end, the person who struggled so much with so much anxiety about math, God had shown up every time.
Fantastic.
And actually, I finished with a HD in grade 12 general math. Thank you so much. And that to me was just because it was something I knew in my own strength I could not do. The fear was so paralyzing that I could not do this. I cannot learn this. And for God to not only show up, He showed up, was amazing. And that was I have a journal that I write my experiences. When God gives you that little wink where you go.
Yeah, I see you. Yeah.
Still got it. Write it down. That was the first thing on this education journey that I did write down. And then after that, I hit Control-Alt-Delete in my brain of all of this because it's like, we don't need it anymore. And then we got to Lentite, which, as for those pre-service teachers that are going through it, that the Lentite is one of those terrifying things that we have hanging over our heads, that we've got to do literacy, numeracy. We need to meet a standard. I mean, obviously that's a good thing. But until you pass these two tests, you can't actually register.
You have to revisit all the mathematics again. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And again, it was, you would think after all of these years and having all of these experiences with God where he has showed up, that, you would face the next hurdle with that. He's in it, he's going to show up. But no, we automatically default to the fear and control part and what we can do in our own strength. And again, we had to humbly surrender. I actually ended up finishing well above the standard.
Awesome.
Which is, again, has nothing to do with me. This is God showing up and showing off.
So God cares for you, is helping you with the learning. Just a theological aside, often we think of, the best teachers just know all the stuff, but even Jesus learned obedience through suffering, for instance, that Jesus himself learned. He grew in wisdom, stature, favour with God, favour with men. To be a good teacher, we have to be a good learner. And to be a good learner means that we face the fear sometimes of what it means to not know, to not have it together. So that's cool. So let's move on here. Let's get into our subject area a little bit. So let's focus on psychology, which for some people or some schools that may not be on your curriculum, it may not be what you're teaching, but I know it's something that CCC is thinking of moving into, and some are doing it by a distance.
Correct.
So if we're looking at engagement in the classroom, I mentioned what is learning in the past, where kind of 3 levels. The first level is see anew the curricular connections between the mission of God, let's say creation for redemption, and the subject area. Next level is how do you then do the teaching and learning, and then how do we kind of shape the classroom practices? So let's just go for that top one. As you think about the subject of psychology, and we can work this out together because I know that you're in the formation process.
Absolutely.
I'll go one at a time. Where do you see the good of creation in psychology? Let's make these rapid fire. Where's the good of creation in psychology?
The good of creation in psychology is that we're created in the image of God. So I think that the more that we get to understand ourselves and the way that God has formed and fashioned us can only be a really good thing. But obviously there's also tension there.
We can
also take that into
get to the tension.
Yeah.
Although it's interesting because sometimes we think of psychology as quite secular, but psyche-ology, the study of the soul, is actually where it comes from in the Greek. And the soul in a biblical sense is not a separate part of the body, but it's what animates you. It's the whole living person. So studying the whole living person, what animates them, surely has some creational good in that. So that's what we're there for. Where do you see the brokenness of the fall in the study of psychology? How does it grapple with that?
It's very interesting, Dave. Well, I think because we are studying, you've kind of now just blown my mind to it. It's the wholeness of the person. It just also then will illuminate at the sin and nature in us all and the brokenness in it.
Like this, because it's not dualism. It's not here's the good, there's the bad. It's actually here's the apple and the bad is the rot on the apple. It's not the absence. It's not the kind of the opposite of good. It's actually a disorientation of the good. So I guess psychology is studying how that good gift of what animates us has gone.
How it has been distorted and distorted it has. And particularly when we look at just psychology from a scientific perspective and just empirical evidence, we're missing a tremendous part of the human story in that it's the absence of God, our creator. So how can we truly know ourselves if we have removed God from our picture?
Great. And if we make something else into God, I guess we're deformed in the process.
In the absence of God, there will always be something else.
Yeah. So in one sense, when you look at dysfunction through a psychological lens, you're looking empirically at sin and missing the mark and disorientation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where do you see the hope of redemption and not like where's Wally? Here's Christ appeared in psychology, but where do you see the good of redemption and restoration in the study of psychology?
the more that we get to understand ourselves, and that with the brokenness, there is also hope. But again, I think this still has to be paired with that we are sinful.
We can't pick ourselves up by the bootstraps. We need a saviour of our soul.
Absolutely. And that's where true. I think even with all of the different, treatments and therapy that you can do, you're still missing a huge part of what it means to be restored and to actually be whole, to have that fullness of shalom that you had spoken about.
So where do you feel the greatest tension in the study of and the teaching of psychology with your Christian faith? Because it does have presuppositions. It's a discipline that...
it's a scientific discipline.
Are we anti-science?
No.
Okay, so we're not anti-science.
Absolutely not.
But where do you feel the tension as you teach psychology?
The tension is, I think, with psychology, potentially, there is... very inward focused, that we can actually, we are the masters of our own destiny, and that we can, if we are introspective enough, if we're reflective enough, that we in our own strength and power can, bring about change, sustaining change. That's the one part, whereas teaching psychology, you can teach the science of psychology, but when you start getting into the morality, because psychology is not just something that's in isolation that we're learning about, because it draws from a whole lot of different areas and perspectives and disciplines. Because then once you start talking about, morality and heart, soul, spirit, all of those sort of things, I'm not really sure. Like that, it just seems to be quite... on opposite sides.
And sometimes the paradigms in psychology don't have to be, but sometimes they can be quite relativistic in the sense of, you tell me what you value and let's go towards what you value. You tell me what your pain, let's get rid of the pain. As opposed to actually there is an objective ordering to the way life is meant to be. And we want to help you align with that and not just therapize it. So certainly challenges there. So let's move from, we've made some connections, creation, fall, redemption, some tensions. If we move down to the next level of the teaching and the learning, we're not simply here to teach a curricular area well, we're here to form wise peacemakers, people who in their head understand the way the world is and know what makes for flourishing. In their hearts, they're virtuous, they desire the good. In their hands, they're skillful, they can work for shalom. So how do you do teaching and learning well to form these kind of people? In teaching psychology, how do you think about or go about that kind of teaching and learning process to see good formation happen in that space?
That's a question that I actually really sit with and think about. I really don't have too many answers at this point, David. I'm sorry.
Cut.
Yes.
No, keep going.
Very much in the formative stage where I'm just still piecing together what that looks like.
What have you seen so far that gives you hope in that space, or where you're like, oh, geez, that would be a great activity, wouldn't it? Or let's make it as tangible as you want. It doesn't have to be principles, but what are you kind of hoping to do if you got to teach psych, next week? What's the kind of thing you would like to do in that you think would really help form students well to love God, love their neighbour?
Well, I'm going to go broader, even in psychology, in whatever God leads me to teach in, and whatever opportunities are presented. Really, my main focus as a teacher and as just a human is valuing people. And I just think that it is a profound paradigm shift when we say as believers that each of us are actually created in the image of God, that we have inherent dignity, worth and value. Well, that's actually going to mean something. That's actually going to mean something in our interactions and our communications. It's all of those things. So valuing the students, seeing the students as being created in the image of God. And that, yes, that's going to include the really tricky kids as well. So each of those are created in the image of God as well.
So they don't exist to serve the curriculum. The curriculum exists to help them become fully alive and fully healed.
Absolutely.
And valuing them and being patient with them and helping them learn and not feeling in a rush to get everyone through to the same place.
There's a difference too when you actually value something. And I'm a huge fan of John Maxwell. And there was something that I'd come across in his teachings, and it was, if you are...
That's okay. We can make it up as we go. Yeah, bring it up.
I'm going to.
All right. This is not our professional production, but I think it's something about people are in trouble and you want to fix them up or something.
Yes.
You started to get me on the train of this, you know.
He said, if I see you as weak, I will help you. If I see you as broken, I will fix you. If I see you as valuable, I will serve you.
Nice. That's very good.
And that's how I want to reflect Jesus in my teaching, in my interactions with the students. I want them to know that they are valued. How I do that is when I'm planning, like it's student-centered, like seeing the learning from their perspective, valuing them, and wanting to, nurture in them all of those things that you're spoken about, the head, heart, hands. And I know that, in secondary we only get them for a short time, but, I think we've all had those experiences that each of us could actually have. If I'd said to you, think of a teacher who was really influential, you'd go,
Exactly. Straight up. Yeah.
And sometimes it's not the grand things, it's just those little connections. It's just knowing, helping the kids to feel valued and seen could be all the difference. And I'm also on board with what you were talking about today, is that yes, we want to make disciples, and yes, we do want to share the gospel, but I think that before we even get to sharing the gospel, that actually starts all the way back here with our inward walk with Christ as well, how we're being formed, our obedience and our faithfulness to him. And that should then, we should be desirable that people go, there's something different about you that I would just, I'd love to know the reason.
And I can hear God's heart beating through you in that as well. It reminds me of where Jesus said the way we love each other is how God's made known.
Yes.
And
Jesus was deeply relational. Like when he met people, he met them where they were at. And I think as teachers that's an incredible point of view to take, a way to actually approach teaching and learning, whether, in whatever classroom, is to meet the kids where they're at.
Yeah. Which relates to psychology as well, because the human person is animated by love, because we come from love and we're made for love, and we emerge from a community of Father, Son, Spirit.
Yeah.
So if we're birthed out of love and we grow through love, then the way we love our students is how God's made known, but also how they come to know themselves.
Yep.
The knowledge of oneself is at the core of some of what psychology is.
Absolutely.
To know oneself is wisdom.
Yeah.
So we're almost at a close with the time we've got in this, but could you just quickly give a piece of advice that was helpful to you, or that you think would help your schools to work well with teachers who are preparing to teach, as you're facing that daunting question of, if you've got that license now and you're thrown into the classroom, maybe teaching English, what's something that would help you? What's something that would help the schools to do that well? Any advice?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Short and sharp. Just go straight to the heart. What would help you? What would help them?
Right.
Yeah.
I think that practically means that we need to be attending thoughtfully to the students' strengths and needs, affirming effort as well as achievement, using daily interactions to build meaningful and connected relationships would be really important for me. As a pre-service teacher, getting prepared. Prayer. Yeah. Surrender. Obedience. Trust God.
All that good stuff.
You said short and sharp.
No, it's definitely there. We're going to pray for each other in a moment. We'll pray for teachers in the same subject area. And there may be no answer to this question, which is fine, but is there any final story or thing that you wanted to share that you felt was on your heart before we wrap up? If there's not, we'll keep moving on. But if there is, I just want to make sure you've got space for that.
Look, I think I'm just so incredibly grateful for all of the people at the university that have going to a Christian university. I had actually been to a different university that was secular, so it was quite a change.
It's kind of integrated from the start, right? You're thinking about your faith, thinking about the formation, theology.
Yeah.
You don't just suddenly rock up with your church background and then the teaching, and then how do these connect?
Absolutely. Yeah. And God's in everything. So to try and, make education and your faith, separate it's never going to work. But yeah, the people used to say to me when they came to the school, there's just something different about CCC. And I just can't quite put my finger on it. There's just something different. And I felt exactly the same way going to Christian Heritage College. The first lecture that we went to was like, we're going to pray. I really want to pray for you.
Yeah.
And I was like,
appropriate?
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
And but having lecturers that actually walk alongside us that in faith, we know that they're praying for us and encouraging us. What a difference it makes to have the support from the school as well. To be involved in the embedded practice program has been exceptional. So I'm just incredibly grateful to God for leading me to this point in my life, and I'm really excited to see where that's going to lead, and just trusting that He's called, so He'll equip. Actually, that's my message to all of the pre-service teachers as well, is that if you believe that this is something that God has called you to do, it's going to be hard. We were never promised that everything was going to be easy. There's going to be challenges. You will despair. You'll feel completely out of your depth. But take great comfort and really let the truth that God has called you, He will equip you to really settle into your heart and your soul, because it's the difference maker.
That is beautiful. I also love that you stand straight down the barrel there. So I really hope you receive that directly to your soul. And Craig Murison, I'm staring down the barrel at you. I think you owe Melita a free lunch, because that was like an unprovoked plug for what you guys do. Yes. So well done with the program. We're hopeful that we'll be able to send out many more teachers into the schools who are already maybe in those communities and are really well equipped for that. So I want to pray for you. I've already got a sense of what to pray for from the things you've shared, but I'm also going to ask if you'd be comfortable, just straight off the back of me praying for you, to pray for the teachers who are preparing to teach, and maybe those who are teaching in psychology or English, wherever you want to go.
Absolutely. All right.
Let's do that.
Thank you.
So Lord, I thank you for Melita. I thank you for her many years in this school, and the way that through encouragement from others, they saw that she would be a great fit for this. I thank you that you have given her courage to step out in the boat and to step into probably the only role that she hadn't done in the school here. And I thank you that it's just the right place at the right time. I thank you for CHC and the work they've done, and I thank you for all that she's learned. As she seeks to love students well and to see them formed well, would you continue to help her in her own learning, not just of mathematics, but learning to integrate what she's learning about with what she's doing in the classroom. I pray that license would come through very shortly in the PTT, that she'd be able to get in there on her own standing as an English teacher and to set up a psychology program here at the school. Would you bless her richly in her family? Would she know your provision? And as she grows in wisdom, in stature and favour with you and favour with others, would she journey alongside these young people to do likewise? Would she love well? And in giving and receiving love, would you be made known to these kids and their families? Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you, Jesus. Gracious God, we thank you for calling each of us to the sacred work of teaching. Today, we lift up all the pre-service teachers, asking for your guidance, wisdom, and strength. Lord, remind us that every child we encounter is created in your image, of infinite worth and unique purpose. May we always see their value, honour their dignity, and celebrate the gifts you've placed within them. Help us to nurture, encourage, and support each student with patience, compassion, and love that reflects you, Jesus. Grant us the humility to listen, the courage to advocate for those voices who are small, and the creativity to meet the needs of every learner. May our classrooms be places of safety, respect, and belonging where every child feels known, seen, and valued. Bless our hearts, O God, so that we may teach not only with knowledge but with kindness. May our lives and our work reflect your love and inspire children to grow into their fullest potential. We ask this in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Melita. Beautiful prayer. Please do, as you finish watching this, start with prayer for Melita and for Cooloola Christian College. And until I see you next time, shalom.
Thank you.